Welcome into the Gridiron Grind. It's our 20th episode of the season, our final episode of the season. Creta 3, Jimmy G. Thanks for joining us on the ride. Jimmy, it's Super Bowl week. Fun times. But before we talk about the Super Bowl, Cowboys have a new head coach since the last time we recorded. So I figure we ought to talk about that and just how well run the Cowboys organization has been lately. Brian Schottenheimer, new head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I had totally forgot he was our offensive coordinator until we were interviewing him to be the head coach. If Jerry was going to hire him, I don't understand why he just didn't keep Big Mike. But your thoughts, Brian Schottenheimer, new head coach, Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I don't know, man. We'll see. I guess it's a wait and see. If you're a basketball guy, you got to wait and see, man. They shipped Luka to Los Angeles, and
gosh almighty, this is a football show, but holy cow.
Dude, so we'll see. To me, it kind of felt a little panic. Like you said, why not keep McCarthy? But because, that guy's calling the plays, so you see what he's doing, I think this will either be Jason Garrett or it will be maybe something like Dave Campo. I don't know. I just don't have high hopes, and it's probably because of the way that we've gone the last couple years. But to me, I thought he's watching Kellen Moore and Dan Campbell play in the NFC Championship game, and he's watching Dan Quinn play in the NFC Championship game, and I'm going, and then of course Dan Campbell before he's a player, but Quinn and Moore were coordinators, and he's watching them go, and it felt like, well, we got to keep one, and it's like, well, you let two go, so you kept this one. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
If you look at his resume, it's not a very impressive resume. The only place that he usually doesn't stay somewhere more than a year, 3 years max. The only place that he had sustained success, he was with the New York Jets for 6 years, from 2006 to 2011. They did make it to back-to-back AFC Championship games. I think was that 2009 and 2010.
That was with Rex Ryan and the Sanchez.
But if you remember, it wasn't because of the offense. Their defense was loaded. Okay.
Yeah, that was Bill Revis. That was Revis Island.
He was with the Seahawks, then the Jaguars. He was an analyst for the Cowboys in 2002, and then offense coordinator the last 2 years. I mean, this just does not give me a lot of hope in the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's one of those wait and see. It's wait and see just how bad it's going to be. Like I said, and this will either end up being, man, who's this quarterback from Michigan that they got in the 6th round, or it's going to be the guy was in way over his head right out of the gate. You got to try something. I just don't know if this was I don't know if this is the thing to try. You got Kyle Shanahan, you've got, McVay, you've got some of these other young guys, and it's like, not that they were available, but it just kind of feels like these guys are doing that. I think I found that. I'm just going to do that, instead of trying to go out and get someone proven, like you said, a kind of an unimpressive resume. The Seahawks and the Jets, kind of where he had most of his success, but
yeah.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if it was Marty Schottenheimer. Which would been pretty hard to do.
I mean, really, the only thing that matters, the Cowboys are stuck with Dak Prescott. You give him $60 million. What is it, $60 million a year?
Yeah.
You got to maximize Dak Prescott. If you're going to invest that much money into him, which we all agree that was the wrong decision, but we're stuck with it. You got to get the best out of Dak. Can this guy do that? I don't know. I don't know who could get the best out of Dak.
Yeah, you got to get Dak on board with Dak, and maybe, when they were kicking Kellen Moore's name around, I'm going, okay, well, I mean, that could work. I mean, Kellen Moore wouldn't be his position coach, so I feel like Dak could listen. And, I just thought, I would have loved to have seen us just go the Mike Tomlin route. Of course, he's not available. Pittsburgh wasn't that dumb. Uh,
Yeah, I'd love Mike Tomlin.
yeah, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll be what we need. Maybe it's so off the beaten path that we'll strike gold.
Well, maybe we'll actually make a move in free agency this year. Maybe. Um,
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
don't spend any money in free agency, and you just can't do it in the draft. It's not like you used to. You just cannot do it in today's NFL through the draft. You have got to make moves. I mean, golly, look at the Eagles. First of all, the Tennessee Titans' whole organization should be slapped for
yes,
letting AJ Brown. You and I talked about it a couple years ago when he went to Philly. They let Derrick Henry go to Baltimore. I mean, the best thing they did was cut Tannehill. But I'm going, those guys they just parted ways with everything. Just total rebuild there in Tennessee. But I mean, the Eagles are not where they're at without the free agency, the moves they made in free agency at
yeah.
all.
The Eagles, you got to give it to the Eagles. They make all the right moves lately.
Yeah.
I mean, they won a Super Bowl in what 17 with Nick Foles, but that was like a
Mhm.
different coach and kind of a different roster. Lately, I mean, now they've got Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown. They had what was it? Hassan Ridgeway, the DN that they got. That was a
Oh, it's on
steal.
Reddick.
Oh, Hassan Reddick. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, of course, he's not there anymore, but they've made some unbelievable deals, and they've made,
Zach Braun.
yeah, they've made the Super Bowl 2 of the last 3 years. Cowboys just sit back. What we were thinking last year, I have no idea. We were 12-5, got bounced in the first round of the playoffs again. We were like, oh, we're good. We'll just be right back. Everybody else that we contend with in the NFC makes moves to get better, and the Cowboys just don't. Uh, the roster has so many holes. The offensive line is not where it needs to be. I mean, we got Dak and we got CD. We got to build. We need to build around them. The running game's not where it needs to be. Defense, we can't stop the run. I mean, we're pretty good at rushing the passer, but we can't stop the run when we need to. There's just so many holes on the Cowboys roster, and that $60 million a year could have filled a lot of those holes. But it is what it
Yeah.
is. I don't know if Schottenheimer can maximize this roster. Uh, I don't know. I don't know who could though. Who knows?
Yeah, and the one that hurts to me, of course we get Schottenheimer, we bring in Eberflus from Chicago to be the DC,
Hmm.
but we let John Fossil go,
Yeah.
considered by many to be the best special teams
Yeah.
special teams coach in the league. Like, what are we doing there? Like, there's a guy you should keep. Keep John Fossil. I mean,
Yeah. He's the one who
no, we're
found
gonna let him go.
he found Brett Aubrey, our best
Yeah,
player. It was a kicker.
exactly. I'm going, guys. I mean, what are we doing? That's one I would have kept. He's gone. And like you said, Saquon, Philly's made all the right moves. Bringing in Saquon's huge. I still don't know how the GM in the Giants GM still has his job after just the
That's a
videos
terrible
that come out
franchise.
are just that's wild, absolutely wild. And on the other side of the ball, you've got a generational talent in Patrick Mahomes, Hall of Fame coach Andy Reid, and I mean, and Spagnola on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
one.
they can plug and play. They draft corners really well.
Yes.
And I think they're a case of scheme. Philly's gone out, got the big free agents. They've had a pretty good draft. Hit on some draft picks as well. But Kansas City reminds me of the Patriots, where they constantly reload, and they are getting the most. They're squeezing every last bit of juice they can
Yes.
out of anyone that they get,
They do.
and 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 they're super successful with it. And so, yeah, I mean, it, it's not as exciting of a Super Bowl as if like Cowboys were in it. I'm gonna watch. I'm not one of these people that's I'm
Yeah,
not
I'll
gonna
watch for
watch it.
sure.
Like
I'll be
I'm
locked
gonna
in.
watch it. That was dumb. I think that's dumb to say, but obviously I'm not as excited about it as if the Cowboys were in it. But I like the X's and O's as I know you do. And I
Yeah.
like watching these guys. The chess
Well,
match between Spagnola and Jalen Hurts is going to be great.
it will be. But to wrap up the Cowboys, so when you look in the NFC East, the Eagles are up there. They're the top. And now you got Washington. who made it to the NFC Championship, and they got a rookie quarterback, and
Yeah.
Dan Quinn is a coach. So they're probably not going anywhere. The Cowboys have got to elevate to get there. And now that Washington made the NFC Championship, most depressing stat is every team in the NFC has now made an NFC Championship game this century besides the Cowboys.
Yeah.
All There's 16 NFC teams, 15 of the 16 have made the NFC Championship game this century except for the Cowboys. And a more depressing stat, if you look at Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels, quarterback for the Eagles in Washington, both of them have been born, went to college, got drafted, and played in an NFC Championship since the Cowboys have. Like they were born they
Yikes.
were born since the Cowboys have made the NFC Championship game in '95. That is,
Well, next year I think we'll break that curse. So
yeah, yeah.
next year we'll be the 16th team.
Okay. All right. Okay.
You gotta let everybody else, get theirs. Then you come back and, so
Was
hey
crank
guys, adding
and
some.
also a crazy stat, the Cowboys still have the most NFC Championship game appearances of any franchise, and they haven't been in 30 years.
I believe that, and people, no way. It's like, well, yeah, we went to what, two Super Bowls.
Well,
We
in
lost to the Colts. We went to two in the 70s.
the 70s,
Then,
well, the 70s, 80s, and 90s, we went to the NFC
yeah,
Championship game almost every year.
yeah.
Their
So,
first span.
it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, all right, let's talk about the Super Bowl. You got the Chiefs, Eagles. Chiefs are favored. It's down to one. Over-unders at 49, 48 and a half, depending on the book. The money's stayed pretty even. I am interested. Like I figured some money would be coming in heavy early. It really hasn't. Seems like a little bit more money is on the Eagles. I was waiting to see if that line would move either way. But I think it's gonna be a great game. I mean, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is the most clutch quarterback I think in the history of playoff quarterback. And I know there's a guy named Tom Brady, but Patrick Mahomes, the best stat is there's been since the year 2000, there's been 125 postseason drives where the quarterback has had the ball and his team is either tied or behind by one score, and 125 drives in that situation. Like 40 of the 125 times, the quarterback succeeded leading his team to either get the tie, get the three they needed, or score a touchdown to take the lead. Okay. The top three in this category, I think Tom Brady is like 5 of 12 in that scenario. So pretty good, like 40 something percent. Drew Brees is 3 of 6, 50%, which is pretty good.
Dang.
Patrick Mahomes has been in that scenario 7 times in the postseason, and he has come through all 7 times.
Wow.
He is 100% when he has the ball under a minute to go in a postseason game, and he has either needed a field goal or a touchdown to score or take the lead, and he's come through every single time. He's the most clutch quarterback in the history of playoff football.
And that's
Fascinating.
that's more impressive. That's a very impressive stat.
Yeah.
Like that's and it makes sense. It's not one of those like, we talk about the Cowboys like, well, they're the most valuable, and people go, how? They haven't won anything, right? Like that's kind of confusing. If you say that about Mahomes, and you kind of think, you go, well, that checks. That checks out, because you watch him, and it's just calculated. Every he knows where he wants to go with the ball, but instead of focusing in on the guy and then throws it away, kind of like some of the times we see Dak do. Mahomes goes, okay, I want to go here, so I have to do all this other stuff. The line knows what they're. I mean, everybody does their job, and then looks off, comes back over here. There it is, big first down. Just takes care of the football. I mean, man, that's wild.
He's been the starting quarterback for now 7 seasons. His season has either ended in the AFC Championship game twice, or it's ended in the Super Bowl the other 5 times. And of course, he's won 3 Super Bowls. He lost one to Brady in the Buccaneers. And then however this one ends, it'll end in the Super Bowl. So the guy he's 29 years old, and he's already made 5 Super Bowls. already winning three. He could get four. I mean, that's remarkable. He's only, like I've said before on the show, only two quarterbacks have beat him in the postseason, and that was 2018. Tom Brady and the Patriots beat him in the AFC Championship game, and then in 2020, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers beat him in the Super Bowl, and then a couple years ago, Joe Burrow beat him in the AFC Championship game. So he's
Hmm.
only lost to two quarterbacks in the playoffs in 7 years, twice to Brady, once to Joe Burrow.
Yeah, and crazy when you think about that. Like the guy, once it comes time to the playoffs, we talk about this and off the show, you and I texting going, "Hey, what do you think about betting on this?" I don't know, man. I don't want to go against Mahomes. Don't want to go
I
against
told you,
Mahomes.
the Bills. I
If
was like,
you
dude,
go
I'm
against
not betting against
Mahomes,
Mahomes.
it is crazy. It's crazy how clutch that guy is.
Yeah.
Like teams, I mean, the Ravens, the Bills, these teams just look, I mean, powerhouse, just juggernauts coming in, and Mahomes just finds a way to get it done, man. He's a football player.
Yes. I mean, like they're clutch. They know how to win. I mean, the Chiefs haven't really been that impressive this year. Uh, they lost one, well, two, but they lost to the Broncos in the last week of the season when none of the starters play. So they've
Hmm.
really lost one game this year. I mean, when Patrick Mahomes has been the starting quarterback, they're 17-1 this year.
I mean, that's pretty good numbers. I'd take it.
And like 12 of those 17 wins have been one possession games.
That's unreal.
It's unreal. They have figured out how to win. That's how you win. He's just so clutch. He's so comfortable being in close games. He just knows how to convert on third and fourth downs when it matters most. They play complementary football. I mean, I think we're watching greatness. I mean, there's only a couple quarterbacks have only three quarterbacks have four or more Super Bowls. Terry Bradshaw, Joe Montana, Tom Brady. Bradshaw and Montana have four, Brady with seven. So if he gets to that fourth, he'll join a very exclusive category. He's already in an exclusive category with three or more. The guys I just mentioned, and then it's Troy Aikman and Patrick Mahomes.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, think about that. And like you said, he's 29. The guy's still
29.
young. A lot of football in front of him. And then, the coaching staff, they keep, Andy Reid just is that good. And I think you said we're looking at greatness, and I think you're exactly right. I
Exactly,
think we're
guys. He's paired with Andy Reid.
Belichick, yeah, a Belichick Brady kind of 2.0. Like, I don't know if Mahomes would be this good with anyone else, and I don't know if the Chiefs would have this much success with Andy Reid without Mahomes at QB. I think we've found, I didn't think we'd ever find another Brady Mahomes match or Brady Mahomes, excuse me, Brady Belichick, where you've got a coach and quarterback on the same page, just perfect match for one another. And I think that's what we've got here again in Kansas City. It didn't take too long to find one in Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, they get it. They get it. Mahomes gets what Reid's trying to do. They get the guys around him. I mean, just perfect. It's
Hey,
hand in glove.
and here's a great stat you're gonna love. Kind of the dunk on Texas Tech. Every time Patrick Mahomes does something good, Texas Tech Twitter will post something about that's our guy or whatever. And just if you go read the comments, um, Patrick, yeah, they're like, you had Patrick Mahomes and he was 13-19 as your starting quarterback at Texas Tech. You had maybe the greatest quarterback of all time at Texas Tech, and he only won 13 games in 3 years. You went 13-19 with Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback,
With Kingsbury as the coach.
as with
You know what
Kingsbury
I
as the
mean?
coach. Like, how bad was your defense back in those days?
Yeah. And do you remember that game against Baker Mayfield?
In OU, in Lubbock, it was
Golly.
outrageous.
That was an unreal game. But yeah, that's crazy when you think. And then you go, you know, LSU with Jefferson. They have Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Then you have those teams and like they'll get it. Teams like that'll get it done. And then the LSU team, Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, well, they clearly had to. No,
Well, that was
they did
before
not.
LSU threw the football, really.
Yeah, I mean they were. It's pretty wild when you see some of these college teams. You're like, oh, they played together. Oh, they had to ball out. It's like no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
That's why I've always said Cliff Kingsbury's greatest recruiting accomplishment at Texas Tech was keeping Patrick Mahomes from going to baseball full time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
He would have been a high draft pick. All right,
yep.
so when you look at the Super Bowl, Chiefs and Eagles. So they played 2 years ago. Chiefs won 38-35, high scoring game. If you remember, the Chiefs, I think they scored on the opening drive, then the Eagles scored, and then actually the Eagles go up 14-7. And then the Eagles have the ball and they're driving. And what I think changed that game was Jalen Hurts fumble and linebacker for the Chiefs scoop and score. Touchdown ties it up. And then I think the Chiefs even get a 10 or the Eagles get a 10-point lead again after that. But then the third quarter, the Chiefs really started coming on, and then they come down, they tie it, and then they get a stop. I just watched the highlights not so long ago. And so the Chiefs are driving, but it was that controversial pass interference call
Mhm.
on the Eagles, which set up the Chiefs for a go-ahead field goal. And that's how they won. So it was a close game, back and forth, little Mahomes magic in the fourth quarter, like always. I kind of see this being a high scoring game again. I think both offenses, the Eagles offense, they're loaded. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, the receivers, Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. The Eagles are loaded, and I think the Chiefs, they're Mahomes. They'll turn it on when they got to turn it on. Both teams have pretty good defenses, but I just think these two offenses can really turn on a switch when they want to. So I see it being a really good game. I see it being high scoring. I see the Chiefs being the Chiefs and finding a way to win, just because they've done it before and they're the Chiefs. Uh, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm really like you said, I'm looking at Chiefs defense against the Eagles. That's the big matchup to me.
Yeah, because I think if you can make Jalen Hurts beat you with his arm,
Mhm.
that's your best chance.
Right.
But if he gets out of the pocket and can extend the play, move the chains, that just sets up, especially now that they have Barkley, uh, you know, even more so if Hertz is extending the play and moving the chains, you're in trouble because that probably means Barkley's getting his. Uh, and the offensive line's holding up. Lane Johnson said he will play for
Yep.
Philly. Um, some injury concerns there, but yeah, you've got to make Jalen Hurts stay in the pocket and beat you with his arm. Because if he's throwing the ball, that means you're able to bottle up Barkley, and you've got the Eagles in third down, third and medium, third and long, where they can't run the ball. So that's going to have to be Spagnola's kind of, in my opinion, his recipe for
Yeah.
success is going, all right, guys, we're going to stop the run. We're going to try to keep
Have
Hurts
to.
in the pocket. Of course, I'm sure every team this year had that same approach and just couldn't do it. But Spagno, if anyone can, I think Spags can.
Looking at the stats from the Super Bowl 2 years ago, Jalen Hurts had a phenomenal game. He had 304 yards passing, one passing touchdown. He rushed the ball 15 times for 70 yards, three touchdowns. Did have the crucial fumble. And then Devontae Smith, 7 catches for 100 yards. AJ Brown, 6 for 96. I kind of see that being the recipe again for the Eagles. The only difference in now they got Saquon Barkley. So they've added
Mhm.
Barkley to the equation. In that game, the running backs for the Eagles only had like 45 yards. The
Wow.
running backs combined for 17 carries for 45 yards. But again, Jalen Hurts had 15 for 70. So
Hmm.
I expect the Eagles to run the ball a little bit better. I mean, Saquon Barkley's so good. Also, like the Chiefs, if you just look at the box score from the Super Bowl 2 years ago, how did the Chiefs win this game? Patrick Mahomes throws for 182 yards, about half of what Hurts threw for.
Yeah.
He did throw for 3 touchdowns. Uh, the Chiefs did run the ball pretty well, 158 yards rushing. Pacheco 76. Mahomes had 44 yards rushing. And then McKinnon 34. Travis Kelsey 6 catches for 81. That was their leading receiver. So none of their stats really stand out. It's just they're clutch. I mean, Mahomes threw
Hmm.
for 182 and they won the game.
182 and 3 touchdowns. I guarantee if you go back and watch those 182, I mean, it's probably like surgery. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's putting it where he
Picking up on
needs to.
third
He's like, hey,
downs.
I don't have to do anything flashy. I just don't have to turn the ball over.
In the Super Bowl 2 years ago, the Eagles outgained the Chiefs 417 to 340, and they
Wow.
ran 19 more plays than the Chiefs did, which is just remarkable. Again, the turnover, it was the one they had one turnover. The Eagles did, the Chiefs didn't have any.
There you go.
That's always kind of the one key. It's about turnovers. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to it. It's time to get to our picks here at the end of the show. And all right, we're both under 500. Last time we did a show, I was 3-2. Jimmy with the goose egg 0-6. So
It's hard to do that.
that
That's even
it's
more
harder to
impressive.
go 0-6 than it is 6-0, I think.
That's right. And if it was Keno, holla at your boy. You know what I'm saying? If it was Keno, I'd have won.
Yeah.
So
All right, so Jimmy's I'm 65 and 66 on the show on the year. Jimmy's 86 with 94. I think do we both have 8 picks for this game?
we both got 8 picks. I'm sure some of them overlap.
Yeah.
But let's get
All right.
into. I'm saving my game. I'm saving my. I've got prop bets up until basically my last three. I'm saving
Okay.
the winner for the last bet.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll start with props. I'll go first. I got 4 props, 2 players, 2 bets per player. I'm gonna
Okay.
go first, DeAndre Hopkins, and I'm going over 1.5 receptions. I think he's a lifer first Super Bowl. I think they get him involved. I think he has at least 2 catches. And so therefore I think he's going to go over 12.5 receiving yards. So DeAndre Hopkins, over 1.5 receptions, over 12.5 receiving yards.
I like it. I've got the over 12 and a half receiving yards with Hopkins. Um, like you said, I know the Chiefs and the Eagles, they know each other really well. They like you said, played in the Super Bowl. Both teams, especially the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to be ready. I think they're going to try to take Kelsey away. And I think that's going to open up opportunities for guys like Hopkins and Noah Gray. So yeah, I have over 1.5, or excuse me, over 12 and a half receiving yards for DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay. My other guys is Noah Gray. He didn't even have a catch in the AFC Championship game. Game before that against the Texans, he had 3 for 13. I think he gets involved. I think the Eagles, Kelsey kind of went off against the Eagles 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. I think no, this could be a 12 personnel game for the Chiefs, try to run the football. And then that gives Noah Gray some opportunities, second tight end. I think, again, it's only 1.5 receptions. I'm going to go over 1.5 receptions for Noah Gray. And I'm going to also go over 11.5 receiving yards for Noah Gray.
I like it. I have the over 1.5 receptions as well. And that's plus money right now, plus
Yep.
113, depending on your book. So, yeah, exactly. I think they're going to try to take Kelsey away, and they're going, hey, man, if you can beat us without Travis Kelsey, more power to you, which is great for prop bets. And I also have Noah Gray anytime touchdown score of plus 400.
Oh, that's a big one.
I like that one. Uh, I just think they're going to be looking in the red zone. Of course, Travis, guys like Kelsey and Gronk, they're going to him in the red zone. You can't stop them. I think it's just going to be when a guy like Noah Gray, nothing against Noah Gray, but he's not Travis Kelsey. And when you're playing a team like the Chiefs and you're putting all this effort into stopping one guy, and then the guy nobody thought of scores the touchdown, that's just heartbreaking. Let's cash in on that. Noah Gray, anytime touchdown plus 400.
Oh, that's a great one. It's a great one. Okay. I mentioned I think the over hits. It's at 48.5, 49. I'll go ahead and take Chiefs Eagles over 49. Again, this was a 73 point total 2 years ago. I'm gonna say it's like 30-27. So that comfortably by a touchdown gets you over. I just think both offenses are gonna be on fire and they're gonna be precision. And I think they hit the over. So I like over 49 in this game.
I liked over 49 as well, for the reasons you said. I mean, one, they played, last time it was high scoring. And I think the recipe to beat the Chiefs is you've got to either one, figure out how to keep Mahomes on the sideline, or two, you just got to outscore them.
Yep.
I mean, we mentioned that Baker Mayfield OU against Tech. How'd OU win that game? They just outscored Tech. I'm thinking the Chiefs are the same way. You just got to outscore the Chiefs. If you can't keep Mahomes on the sideline, you got to outscore them. Like the weapons Philly has. I think Philly on paper is the more talented team, except for tight end and quarterback. So I like the over 49 in this as well.
All right. Well, my next two bets piggyback off that. I got the Chiefs team total over 24 and a half. Every Super Bowl that Mahomes has been in, except for the one they lost to the Buccaneers, they've scored over that number. I think they'll do it again. And the same thing with the Eagles. Eagles team total over 23 and a half. I think the Eagles get at least 24 points. So I like the over, and then I like both team totals to go over.
I got another player prop, Xavier Worthy, over 6.5 rushing yards. I think he can get this on one
I
play.
like that one. I
Uh,
consider that one.
I like that one because, again, I think there's going to be a lot of emphasis on Travis Kelce. I think they're going to get the ball spread around. Guys like Hopkins, Noah Gray, and Xavier Worthy, I think, are going to benefit big. And I can see them moving Worthy around. Andy Reid coming up with something creative to get him the ball. And I like that over 6.5 rushing yards.
Yep. All right. What's your next two?
My next two are first half, over 2.5 touchdowns.
Okay.
Give it to me. I think and that's the first half. I was like, wait, is this first quarter? No, first half, over 2.5 touchdowns. I think between both teams, again, I think Philly's really going to be trying to just sling it. They're going to try to get in the end zone any way they can, build up a lead, uh, kind of like they did last time. And I think 3 touchdowns between them and the Chiefs is just not enough. So give me over 2.5 touchdowns in the first half. And then I like Eagles over 10.5 in the first half as well. For the same reasons. They're going to be trying to put up points, man. So I like that over 10.5. That's just 2 touchdowns in one half, and which gets us 99% of the way. Then all we got to do is have the Chiefs get one more touchdown in the
Yep.
first half.
I
That's
mean,
it. That's
both
both
those
bets. So,
bets go right along with our thinking it's going to be a
mhm.
high scoring game.
Yep.
All right. So my final bet, I've made no secret about it. I'm going with the Chiefs money line. It's minus
Mm.
120, lay 120, win 100. I think the Chiefs win this game because I don't bet against the Chiefs in the postseason. For all the stats I said earlier in the show, on paper, the Eagles might look like the better team, but the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, and he's been outstanding in the playoffs his whole career. So I like the Chiefs money line.
That's good. That's good. I like the Eagles +1. Give me +1 because I would hate to lose on a Butker kick for money line. Plus, the money line dropped to even. You were getting a little bit of money +105,
Yeah.
+110. Now it's down to even. Give me Eagles +1 then. If it's even, I'm going to take the points. Uh, Eagles +1, man. I think they figure out a way to get it done. Uh, really kind of, if the Cowboys can't win 3 in a row because we goofed up and fired Jimmy Johnson, then I don't think any team should be
Fair enough.
allowed to win it. And this must be how the 72 Dolphins feel every year before that last undefeated. They just, you just kind of root against it, and that's what I'm doing. We can't win 3 in a row, neither should they.
All
So
right.
let's go Eagles.
All right. Here's our bets rundown for Jimmy. He's got Eagles +1. He's got the Chiefs Eagles over 49. Uh, Combined first half over 2.5 touchdowns scored. Eagles over 10.5 in the first half. He's got Xavier Worthy over 6.5 rush yards. DeAndre Hopkins over 12.5 receiving yards. Noah Gray over 1.5 receptions. And Noah Gray anytime touchdown. That's plus 400 on that. Myself, I got Chiefs money line at minus 120. Chiefs Eagle over 49. Chiefs team total over 24 and a half. Eagles team total over 23 and a half. DeAndre Hopkins over 1.5 receptions. DeAndre Hopkins over 12.5 receiving yards. Noah Gray over 1.5 receptions and Noah Gray over 11.5 receiving yards. That'll do it. It's the last
I
show of
like
the
it.
season. That's our 20th episode of the year. It's been a blast, Jimmy. Thanks everybody for joining
Yeah.
us.
I'm about to get back even. You're going to be ahead. It's going to be a great Super Bowl.
I mean, yeah.
What's your favorite Super Bowl kind of big sports gathering food?
Oh, the dips, any kind of dips I can get. I'm a big appetizer dip guy. The get,
Yeah,
buffalo wings are always good.
mhm.
So
Mine's the Buffalo Ranch chicken dip
yes,
or
that. I mean, you can't go wrong.
jalapeno poppers with the bacon and cream cheese, and sometimes people put sausage cream cheese in them. Everybody has a little spin. Those are probably my two favorite. I look forward to
Yeah,
every year. If I go
absolutely.
to a party, I make sure to bring one of those and leave a little here for myself too when I get done. So
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts.